Welcome back to Crackerjack Movie Chat. As always, I am your host, joined by my partner in crime, Mr. Robert Tombe.
Shalom.
And joining us this week, you may know him from all over YouTube, although he's been pretty inactive. This is his grand return, Mr. Ritchie Salveta. Richie, how are you?
I'm good. Good to see you guys. There's a grand return. I've got a nice little background the audience can see.
Yes, joining us from space today, so it's very nice of you to join us today, Richie.
Even though space movies can't be talked about.
No, I was not allowed to, so no.
Yes, we'll explain that later. So, guys, I guess today we'll just start again with what we've been watching in general. Doesn't seem like there's much movie news as of, well, let's face it, there probably will be a bunch of movie news by the time this episode goes out, but there isn't as the time we're recording it. So, Robert, why don't you kick us off? What have you been watching this week?
This week I was watching the film Greenland, starring Gerard Butler. It was on Amazon Prime. I think it's an Amazon Prime original. A very good film about a natural disaster. About I think it's right now, an asteroid or a comet. The sci-fi buffs out there will probably come out and tell me what one it was. To me, they're both the same. But it's basically the end of the world. We're going to have a natural disaster. So many people have been picked around the world to go to these secret bunkers. So when it all comes away, we can rebuild. Gerard Butler and his family are chosen because I think Gerard Butler's like a joiner, runs a construction company. And it's about him getting from some part of America to get to an army base when he'll be took away to Greenland. Hence the film, Greenland. But he encounters trouble. His son, I think, has diabetes. And basically get to the army base and it looks, oh, brilliant, it's going to be all great, isn't it? Realise that his son's not got his diabetes, so Gerard Butler has to go back. Big issue happens in the base, and then it's basically Gerard Butler and his wife and son split out in America. And it's basically just a story of them trying to meet up again to try and get to Greenland for safety. I don't want to go into too detail about it because you've not seen it. But it is a very good film, and you'll be happy to know that Gerard Butler plays a kind of Scotsman in it. Like, they do say that he's Scottish, but he's still got that really, yeah, he's got that accent. Do you remember your mum came and gave us the Highland fling? That kind of accent. It's funky.
He's became too Americanised.
Yeah, that's it. I mean, at least they've accepted that your accent's terrible, but we'll try and make you Scottish because you are Scottish. But yeah, I mean, I do like Gerard Butler. I like his action films. I do like the Olympus Has Fallen kind of series.
They're good.
Yeah, I'm a big fan of Gerard Butler's 300, and you know, I can't remember the one where the police officer chasing down the bank robbers. It's quite violent. It's quite good. But yeah, no, Greenland. It was actually quite a good film. Nice natural disaster film. End of the world, or is it? That's what I've been watching.
Cool. So, Richie, what have you been watching this week?
Well, normally I just watch films, but as you can see, like, there's a few starting back, but like, especially with Netflix lately, hardly if anything's getting uploaded. So I thought I'd seen it advertised. Like, I think it was on like BBC News or that it was getting advertised. So it was came out 2 weeks ago now. It's called Behind Her Eyes. So it's a psychological thriller. It's got a lot of twists and turns though. It's a limited series. It's only 6 episodes. So it's basically about this girl that she hardly ever goes out and stuff like that. She's got like an 8-year-old kid and stuff. So she goes out to the bar one night. She bumps into this guy. They get talking. They sort of, don't want to spoil it too much, but things start to lead off. They get to know each other a bit. And then she actually works at his office because he's a psychiatrist. So she starts to get into his world and stuff like that. And he's got a lot of secrets, things that are going on between him and his wife and stuff like that. So basically an affair happens. Like, I'm not spoiling it though, because that has showed up in the news reel. So things start to play out. There's a lot of unexpectedness to it though, so it is worth watching. It's a bit different. Like I say, I don't watch a lot of TV shows. I prefer films, but I thought I'll try this one because it's only 6 episodes. Each episode's about 50 minutes long or something like that. Not a huge cast in it that you would know. The only one I knew was a psychiatrist, Tom Bateman. He's been in a couple of things before. I've heard his name in that, so I sort of knew him vaguely. But it was good, really good. Like, because I put 2 episodes on, then next day I finished it, which is unusual for me with TV. Normally I'm start with TV, watch a bit, and then I think I'll go back to that. But it's worth checking out. It's on Netflix. It's on Netflix.
Very nice. No, I've got Netflix as well. I think I've seen it advertised on Netflix, but I've just never clicked on it. But yeah, Netflix, I've not been on nowhere because that has been added. But I'll have a look for that.
They're getting worse and worse, Netflix now.
Yeah, it's a bit poor.
But Amazon Prime's not too bad. Like, you've got more. I think you've got more selection there. I've got that as well.
Yeah, it's very decent.
Yeah, Netflix might be starting to feel the heat from other streaming services. Like Netflix obviously being the pioneer, but who knows, maybe they might disappear if the other ones just overtake them like this.
Yeah.
Guess we'll see in the next 5 years. Yeah, we'll see in the next 5 years, I suppose.
What about yourself, Peter? What you've been watching?
So yeah, for me personally, I've watched a few things in the last week. Like, as I say, I've been doing a whole Hitchcock marathon, so I just watched Suspicion, which it's a lesser known one, but I enjoyed that one. It's more mellow, I'd say, and less plot driven, more just about characters and what they may or may not be. But yeah, it was an enjoyable one. But the film I really want to talk about is the remake of The Manchurian Candidate, which I just watched the original Manchurian Candidate from the 60s with Sinatra about a month ago and really enjoyed it. But this new one, I wasn't expecting it. It's from 2004 and Denzel Washington is playing the Sinatra role. As I say, I wasn't expecting it, but I enjoyed it even more than the original. Like, it's one of those cases where it really tightened a lot of the plot from the original. Like, I don't know, eliminated a relation here so that something could be more related there. And it was just a really well put together, tense thriller, I thought. Like, feels like it's mostly written off as it's a decent remake of a classic, but I felt like in every regard, like just having, as I say, Denzel, Liev Schreiber, and Meryl Streep playing those parts, it was basically everything in the film was an upgrade. And there were actually spots there's a certain character death that was actually kind of hard to watch. Like, if you don't know the plot, of course, was referenced in Captain America Civil War with Bucky, where it's all about soldiers who were captured and brainwashed in a war. And this one soldier, played by Liev Schreiber, is hypnotized to become a vice presidential candidate. So, yeah, which is actually one of the big improvements on the original, because he was just hypnotized to back up the candidate in the original, but he actually is the candidate in this movie. So yeah, as I say, it's kind of hard to go into it without spoilers, but yeah, I thought this was an improvement on the original, which I liked. So yeah, good movie.
I'll have to check that out because I like Denzel Washington. He's a really good actor. Because I've not seen either of those. I've not seen them.
No, I mean I've heard of them. I've never seen them.
Actually, I've heard the 2004 one, but I didn't know there was I thought that was the original. Because they don't really talk about the one in the 60s with Sinatra.
No, yeah,
quite unknown.
Know. Yeah, because I think maybe just knowing about the film before I really knew about it, just for culture or whatever, I feel like I probably did think that 2004 one might have been the original, but just never thought about it. But yeah, they're both worth watching, but say this remake, it just tightened everything up and made everything a bit more tense. Yeah, you bring up Denzel, he's someone, it's weird, I didn't really watch any movies by until really recently. I think it was The Equalizer that
made me both of those.
Yeah, those are good. It made me realize hey, this guy's a legend, and I've never really watched his movies, so watched The Equalizer, watched Malcolm X, and yeah, don't know, it was just a weird omission from my movie watching. But yeah, Manchurian Candidate, get that one watched. It's a good one. So if we can move on to our main feature for today, as we all know, Godzilla vs. Kong is probably coming out next month. I mean, they have a streaming deal, so I'm guessing it will come out next month. And the trailer looks good. So we want to highlight monster movies this week. And as Richie alluded to earlier, we are restricting this to monsters that don't come from space, because let's face it, we'll probably do an episode all about aliens someday. So, yeah,
even though I'm up in space right now.
Is that why? That's why we're restricting it, right? Because you haven't found any monsters up there.
Not yet, but I'm on the lookout. So maybe in next week's episode or 2 weeks or whatever, from back on, maybe I'll find one or two.
So yeah, we're just going to go for it using the usual format of our favorites, our least favorites, and what we think are wildcard picks for the monster movie genre. So if I can start, my favorite monster movie, I'd say, is the original Godzilla from 1954, which, for being lumped into the man in rubber suit category, this is so much more than that genre. It's this incredibly grim, dare I say, realistic take on what would happen if this giant monster just came out of the sea and started destroying the biggest cities in the world. And yeah, obviously coming off of the nuclear bombing in World War II, which, yeah, there's just a really, as I say, a really grim streak going through this movie of treating it like a natural disaster and a really sense of dread throughout the movie. And yep, this is a movie I first saw at the Glasgow Film Theatre. Like, they were re-releasing it. It was probably the 60th anniversary, I'd say, and I feel like seeing it in a cinema on a big screen really just heightened how it almost feels like a documentary, even though it is about a big monster man in a rubber suit. So have you guys ever seen the original Godzilla, or is it one where it's just in culture for you and you don't really go back to it?
I
seen it once. I've
never seen it. I know of them, like I know of the different styles, but no, never seen it.
So yeah, I feel like the difference between this and other Godzilla movies is how character driven it is. Like when you look at the character Dr. Serizawa, the film really ends up being about his moral dilemma of, do I use my scientific research, which is really dangerous in the wrong hands, to stop Godzilla, or do I just let that stay quiet and not do anything about Godzilla? Like, it really ends up being this fairly grim, kind of nihilistic character piece, which, yeah, it's kind of a hypnotizing tone for me watching that original Godzilla. So I feel like even though they've like kind of alluded to that character by having a character with the same name in the 2014 Godzilla and its sequel, I don't feel like they've ever quite gotten back to that. Like, honestly, my problem with a lot of recent Godzilla movies and Skull Island, like basically the entire MonsterVerse, is that they cast all these A-list actors, but they don't really know what to do with them. Like, if you look at the fact that you have, like, just throw out some names: Bryan Cranston, Sam Jackson, and Vera Farmiga in a lot of these recent monster movies, there's clearly a thought there that we have to supplement the monster story with this interest in human drama, but it never comes off. It doesn't really go beyond the thought. So say that's what makes the original Godzilla special. Like, yeah, most monster movies, the monster part usually outweighs the human part, but this is one where they both work in equal balance, I'd say. So, Richie, what's your pick for your favorite monster movie?
I went a bit out the box because all the sort of big ones were either going to be discussed or it's quite obvious and stuff. So I thought of Small Soldiers. Now, the reason I'm classing that as a monster movie is because of the Gorgonites. I see them as creatures, monsters, and stuff like that. The thing about Small Soldiers is, obviously, Pixar were on the rise at the time, and Disney was big, the late 90s. But Dreamcast Universal, like, they hadn't been making a lot of animated movies, or they weren't as commercial. But Small Soldiers really, that done quite well. Like, I got the video at the time and stuff like that. Like, I didn't see it in the cinema, but got it in video. Quite a good cast, couple of up-and-coming stars. Good storyline, good plot. Basically, it's about these little toy soldiers who have a microchip in them that makes them become these bad, vicious people. Like, they come to life, really, and they wreak havoc and stuff like that. Chip Hazard's the leader of them. And then you've got the Gorgonites, who they look very creepy, very scary, especially as a kid and stuff like that. But they're very peaceful. Like, they make good decisions. They try and unite everybody together. It's a good storyline. I've seen it quite recently as well because I bought the DVD, so I watched it last year. So I've watched it lots. It's got a good plot, good kind of couple of twists at the end and stuff like that. And it's fun as well because they were quite smart about it, because with a lot of monster movies, they're very specific to begin with because it comes under the science fiction genre, but then it's very subtopic. So what happens with a lot of monster movies is you need a high budget, but you don't have a wide audience. So it's very hard to make it successful. But I feel as if they touched on those things without going too deep. They made it quite a family fun film, but it still had a couple of dark elements to it. So I really like the film. Don't know if you have seen it before. Like, probably have, I'm sure.
Well, you're asking if we haven't seen it before. You clearly haven't watched the episode we put out last week where we talked about best childhood movies and we talked a bit about Small Soldiers.
I've not seen last week's, no.
Yeah,
so you were discussing Small Soldiers?
We were, yeah. We all loved it, yeah. So there we go. The fact that it's coming up in 2 weeks completely independently, I feel like validates us at this point, right, Robert?
Yeah, I mean, it is an interesting theory because technically they are monsters and they are alive, so I'd go with that. It's out of the box. No, you can't go with it. I will allow it. I'll allow it. I'll allow it. But it is not least for a child's film. It is quite. We've spoke about that as well. For a child's film, it is quite dark and quite serious. You're literally talking about soldiers that are going to kill monsters for no reason other than that's what they're programmed to do. That's it.
Yeah. Yeah, it does have dark elements to it. Yep. Definitely. But that's the thing. It creates both audiences because the adults liked it and the kids.
Yeah, you can go back and watch it again. There's adult jokes in it as well, which is always a case with children's films, I think.
Yeah, again, we picked it last week, so I'd say yes, Richie is a good pick. Like, not going to change my mind in the space of a week. Cool. So, Robert, what's your pick for the best monster movie?
My best one is Pacific Rim. I'll be honest with you, I haven't seen the second one. The second one had no interest. I felt like they went completely off the storyline of the first one. But we're not here to talk about the second one. I'm here to talk about the first one. So, because I couldn't pick anything to do with space, I cheated. Instead of going high, I went low. And these monsters came from the Breach it's called?
The Breach, yeah.
It was like, yes, a rift happened in the Pacific Ocean in 2013, I think it says. These monsters are kaiju, as they're called, which I think actually is that not Japanese for monster? Or am I well off?
Yeah, that's the basic general term they use for Godzilla, Mothra, Gamera, all of those chaps.
Yeah. See, so it's basically at the start of the film, it's their own categories, and I think this isn't really a big monster, or it is a big monster that came through. And Charlie Hunnam, and I think the character's his brother, fight it. Blah blah blah. Big fight. Visual effects are awesome. Beats the big robots because humans to fight them have to build monsters of their own, as they say, and it's just big power suits, big massive power suits that mind melts people and they can control them. 2 people is one, and basically they beat the monster, but they also loses his brother. And it's 5 years later on. It tells you that the kaiju program, I forgot what the actual name is, the money's been took away, and they think these big walls will save major cities. And then it tells you after they built a wall in Australia, in Sydney, this other big monsters came through, and it shows that, by the way, we might still need these big robots because the monsters are getting bigger and the attacks are getting a bit more ferocious. They're becoming a bit more determined. So, blah, blah, blah. Idris Elba gets his crack team together. Charlie Hunnam is the angry man who's got the bad past. He comes into it, all boyish, all charm, because it's Charlie Hunnam. That's all he can play. I like Charlie Hunnam, but that is all he can play, is boyish humour. He joins, and it's like, oh, but if you killed this guy. There's the classic, people don't want to accept him, even though he's the best. Blah, 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 blah. Anyway, we're not here to talk about people's personalities or story mode. I think the stories within the people are all right, but it's the monster fights we're here for. I love the monster fights in this, and the reason I liked them is I thought the monsters looked fantastic, and it was Del Toro that directed it. I know he loves his monsters. I think he was very much involved in the process of creating these monsters as well. When you see the clips of it, when you look at a lot of behind the scenes, he wanted a hand in designing. I think that's his big thing. Apparently, I know he loves having a hand in the creative process. The monsters look fascinating. The machines are fascinating as well when they build them. It's the classic one. Like, there's two Russians, and the Russian big massive power robot is just heavy, it's old looking, it's industrial, and it'll get the job done. I love it. It's so good. And you basically just start learning more about why the monsters are coming through. And there's a fella's called Charlie Day. I don't know what his character's called in it. He wants to drift with this part of a brain. He drifts with the monsters, and he learns out what's happening and how they're coming through. And he learns that the breach is like a one-way door that only opens to a certain molecular system, and that their plan to bomb it wouldn't work because the bomb won't go through. So you learn all these new things, but it turns out monsters are coming for Charlie Day now, so all the big robots have to defend him. Ron Perlman's in it. That's where you meet Ron Perlman. Again, it can't be a Del Toro film without Ron Perlman. Ron Perlman's got gold teeth and gold shoes. Why not? Because the guy's cool as. I mean, I don't really know why Ron Perlman's in it, if I'm honest with you. When I was watching it, I was going, Ron Perlman doesn't really need to be in this, but he just looks cool with the big glasses. And then it turns out and tells you that he drifted. Yeah, I mean, the whole human story for me in Pacific Rim, I wasn't really invested in that. It was just more the animations and the style of the film and the way it was. The fights actually feel like big things fighting each other. You know, you see he's getting destroyed and big massive monsters. That was cool. I mean, yeah. Have you two seen this? Because I'm just going to go on about how it's cool fighting, and you two might have a better understanding of the story. But the story never interested me.
I've seen it once before, a while back. Very action packed.
Yeah.
Very action packed. Like, the animation was really good. I quite enjoyed it. Quite enjoyed it.
I mean, it is a good film. I'm not doing it really justice with the storylines. I'm not interested, but I'm a simple man. Am I going to want a good storyline? Am I going to want action? I'm going to want action. Give me action. Peter.
Well, you mentioned the sequel that you didn't see. I didn't see it either, but the sequel coming out was why I finally watched Pacific Rim, because I had it like sitting on my shelf for like years, and then suddenly thought, oh, there's a sequel coming out. That's been sitting on my shelf for years. I guess I better watch that. And yeah, I just wasn't really into Pacific Rim, to be honest. Like, as you say, I don't know, maybe if I'd seen it on the big screen, I'd be feeling differently, but I didn't get into that world as much as like I thought I wanted to. Like, I feel like there were a lot of points where I realized, oh, that's a interesting character kernel, or oh, that could possibly be an interesting set piece for these mechs and kaiju to fight each other, but I just feel like it never gripped me really. Like, it was just kind of generic to me. Like as I say, it kind of carried me along, but I never got fully involved. So who knows? Yeah. Maybe if it's on at some point, I'll watch it again. But I don't know.
I mean, yeah, I enjoyed it, but then again, monster films I haven't seen a lot. But shut up, here! Don't ruin my choice.
I'm not disparaging your choice.
I think it is a weird.
It's fine.
There is a kind of I don't know if Del Toro was involved in the second one, but I just don't know if it was the cast. It just never interested me. I know Netflix, as I was saying earlier, it doesn't do anything. They've kind of commissioned a kind of anime. There's an anime show. I think it's either an anime style film or an anime style series coming out. It's set in Australia about two brothers, which I know I will watch it because I'm quite interested to see how an anime style works in that.
That may work actually, because maybe
Yeah.
I'm thinking maybe for me the problem was by the time I saw Pacific Rim, it had just been bundled in with so many disaster porn movies, I suppose you'd say. Like, but yeah, anime might make that more interesting, to be honest.
I mean, I don't know if Pacific Rim was it anything ever before the films, or was it the films and that was it? Because it feels like something I think should have maybe been something like a Japanese manga. Do you know what I mean?
I'm pretty sure it was a script some writer had written that was brought to Del Toro, and he kind of took it in his own direction, kind of thing.
Yeah, because it's got that feel. Like, I don't know, when I was watching it and I seen, when you look at Ron Perlman's character, do you know what I mean? He's got the gold shoes and he looks very stylized. That's when I was watching it, I'm going, I should have checked. I probably will look to always see if this was like a comic book or a manga. Do you know, like when you watch it, you can notice that, like Ghost in the Shell, you know that's an anime. Yeah, like it's like Hollywood's tried to make something like an anime show westernized. So an anime would be quite interesting.
Yes, it's got me wondering right now, because we all know Del Toro was supposed to do The Hobbit, and he spent he spent a couple of years on The Hobbit before something happened, and he ended up leaving, and then he basically jumped into Pacific Rim because he suddenly realized, oh, I've like gone 4 or 5 years without making a film and no Hobbit to show at the end of it, so I need to make something now. So maybe maybe the reason I'm not into Pacific Rim is because it's a lot of ideas, but maybe he just jumped in too fast to it, just thinking, I need to make another film now before I become irrelevant.
Yeah. I mean, so when you watch it, you're talking me out this film now, Peter. I don't like it. When I watched it, it doesn't have a Del Toro feel. I'll go with that one. And normally I feel like when I think of Del Toro films, I don't think CGI, because I always think of men in suits. Like, he's very good at creating prosthetics and stuff. I mean, I don't know how he could have done this without CGI, so I'll give him the benefit of the doubt there. It doesn't. There was no one really in. Everything's in CGI. I would really like to see Hobbit now. Do you think they can get like a Snyder cut of that? A Del Toro cut of the Hobbit?
Oh, well,
short film. 20 minutes.
Well, they'd have to like shoot 2 entire new movies for that, I suppose. Because
I'd be happy with that, because I didn't like the Hobbit. I hated the Hobbit.
Yeah. Yeah, for
like
me, the Hobbit I was kind of into for a bit, but then by the time the third movie rolled along, I realized this wasn't worth it.
Yeah.
Okay, so with that, we'd better move on to that oh-so-cherished section of the show where we talk about our least favourite monster movies. So, Robert, as we've already alluded to, you have a particularly traumatizing entry in the monster genre, I'd say. So what are you talking about tonight?
Well, I'm going to go for the 1998 Godzilla. Now, I'm going to have to be honest, I was born in 1993, so most people of my generation, this would have been the first, well, I know for me, it was the first ever experience I had of Godzilla. So when I was younger, I liked the film. Obviously, as I was younger, I didn't understand what the problem was, because you're young. So I will be honest, I was this perception that Godzilla was just like a kind of iguana-looking dinosaur. You know, it stood on its like bipedal with the kind of, no bipedal, quadruped, I can't remember. Basically, it walked on 4 legs kind of thing. It was like a T-Rex, wasn't it? It wasn't like Godzilla you see now, but it's the back standing. Anyway, so that's my perception of Godzilla when I was younger, that he was like a dinosaur, weird kind of thing. The film at the start, I think, is what Peter was talking about. Does it not try in the start to go with the nuclear kind of bomb thing? It does not show you like evolution in the Galapagos Islands.
Yeah, it actually tries to go
that kind
like it tricks you into thinking you're getting a straight remake of the original Godzilla for about 2 minutes. But
yeah, because as I said, it's been a while since I've watched it. I now know it's terrible, so I don't tend to watch it. the cast. I mean, Matthew Broderick,
Yes.
he's in it.
That's about that.
Yeah, I mean the Frenchman, who I always know as the Frenchman, I actually think is a good actor. Is it Jared Reno? No,
Jean Reno. Yeah.
of course not. Jared
is.
Reno, I called him. Of course. I mean, he plays the. Turns out you think he's just a taxi driver, but he's actually like a group of mercenaries that's hunting it. They've been hunting it around the world or something like that. I mean, it arrives in New York, and when it arrived, it is terrifying, but I don't quite get it when I watch it now. I mean, Godzilla's quite lost on me. I've not seen a lot of Godzilla films. I can't put my hand to that. So my knowledge on Godzilla, how outraged people, isn't probably as much as Peter or Ritchie. I know they've watched the originals. They know a bit more about Godzilla than I do. So when I watched it, I thought, this is fine. This is great. But I know Peter's outraged. So this may become me picking it, but it might be Peter talking more about it than me. Yeah, I just didn't get it. Plus, does it ever really reveal Godzilla's gender in the other films? Because in this one, it is a female because it lays eggs, but the baby Godzillas just look like what do you call that? It looks like baby T-Rexes.
Raptors, yeah.
Yeah,
Raptors, yeah.
But my kind of problem with that one is see if it's laid eggs. Where's the thing that's fertilized? Where's that? It leaves this This is when I look back on it. I don't remember the story, so I apologise if you're waiting for me to explain the story to you. I don't really remember it. I remember scenes here and there. My thing about it now is that creature was so goddamn big. Like, it shows you, it was so big, but yet it can manage to go through New York without causing any damage. I remember that. It manages just to walk by buildings. It's fine, but they say it was massive and we should have noticed it. They never ever see it, but yet it's pregnant. And it's laid eggs in a stadium. So where's the thing that?
Oh, I'm remembering stuff here. They keep losing track of it, right? Yeah.
There's a lot of issues.
Yeah, and it's like
I've not seen it in years.
No, I mean I remember it. It's like, why did Godzilla go to New York? Was it because it had all the fish? That was it. That's how they trap it. But it goes like, this big thing's evil. It's destroying the place. Well, it's not really. It's just a big animal. It's not chosen. I mean. But then it's like, we need to kill it when it's having babies. And it's like, oh, but we can't because then we'll be extinct. We'll be making another creature extinct. And then it's like, well, let's kill it on the bridge. Is it even New York? It is New York, isn't it?
Yeah, it's New York.
Yeah,
it's New York.
I just had this weird mindset that they blow up in Golden Gate Bridge, and I don't know why. That was just came out of my head there. They blow it up on a bridge, I'm sure. And it's like, oh no, it's sad, we've killed it. But is it dead? Because no, at the end, its eyes not at the end. Oh, you know what? I'm so lost in the story. I can see Peter's churning to come in here to finish this.
Yes. Okay, I'm a Godzilla fan, and as a Godzilla fan, every ounce of me is saying that is not Godzilla in that movie. And as a Godzilla fan, I completely disavow it. But there's also the part of me that just is a lover of cinema that says, this movie is terrible. Like, I want to use one scene in this movie as an example of how terrible it is. There is a scene where Matthew Broderick, having come face to face with Zilla, we're calling it Zilla, that thing is not Godzilla, he comes face to face with Godzilla for the first time. And then in the next scene, he very calmly walks into a shop and runs into a girl he used to know and very calmly says, "Hey, how are you doing?" And when you're watching this scene, all you're thinking of, you just came face to face with this giant monster. This movie is terrible. Like, I cannot sum up how much I hate this movie. Like, it should have everything going for it. Roland Emmerich, who is not the best director in the world, but he had just made a very entertaining but stupid movie named Independence Day. He should have been able to make an entertaining Godzilla movie, but instead he made a movie that is the definition of every bad 90s disaster movie. Like, I could go on for hours about this. It's a terrible movie. Richie, what do you think?
Well, you're using the word entertaining. It might have been entertaining for the wrong reasons. Well, as I was saying with the whole franchise, like, this is the Godzilla that really became commercial. Like, in my eyes anyway, like, the figures, like all the sort of things that go outside of the movie. But when you actually tear down the movie, it's supposed to be a monster movie, it's supposed to be scary, it's very far-fetched. There's too many scenes that you're talking about with Matthew Broderick, like it goes from one spectrum to the other spectrum, like, and you're thinking, for a big cinema blockbuster, they made a lot of errors that could have, let's see if they'd taken out 10 things of that movie and changed it, it would actually be a good movie. Like, if they take 10 major parts and flip the switch, flip the script, they would have actually done okay. But, like, as you're saying, because they had a decent director, like, the actors are fine, like, so they had a lot going for the movie. It's just the movie itself. Just, I felt they took the plot way beyond what Godzilla was supposed to be. And now, because I've seen the originals, like, you kind of get that, because you compare them. It was a poor movie for me. Even at the time, even as a kid, like, I just never really liked it, even as a kid. So that says something.
I mean, it's true.
That's supposed to be a movie. You go, you're excited and stuff. You want to see.
Yeah.
Even then.
It did get a lot going for it. You're right, because I know for a certain fact I did have one of those wee toys of him, and it did get a TV series because I used to watch it. We said that earlier in the show, and I did watch the TV show when I was younger, which is quite interesting to think that was. But then, do you not think was this not like the first Western controlled Godzilla? I mean, I could be wrong again. I'm not really 100% a Godzilla.
Yeah, it was. There were a lot of cases where, like, the Americans had, like, re-edited Japanese Godzilla films. Like, if you watch the original American version of the 54 movie, they've actually put a subplot of an American who, like, is like they've, like, made it look like he's in the background of scenes that are going on in the Japanese film, but this is the first one that's actually fully made in America. Yes, yes.
I mean, the other thing I know is there was a video that I was explaining before we started about it's like an animated drawing. I can't remember the fella's name. He goes through Godzilla and how Godzilla changed and it was going through his films. But there were minor changes. Maybe it's like, one film he's got a slightly more elongated neck. The next film, maybe he's got his neck's back, his nose is short. It's like small changes, nothing major. A couple of spikes. And this film's so different. He's went for, as I said, being like a man in a suit, kind of big, huge dinosaur hulking kind of on its two legs to this lizard. It's like a lizard form. It was such a far cry. And I'm one of those people that if you're going to remake something or make another version of something, slight changes I'm totally fine with. But see, when you mass change something, I'm out. Especially if there's a history with it, like comic book characters. Slight changes, I'm cool for. Mass changes, like new characters,
It
takes away from the story, the real story.
Yeah. What was the story of Godzilla 98?
I think the story was Jurassic Park came out a few years ago, and we want to make that same box office.
Yeah, it just doesn't work. I've still not even seen the newer Godzilla versions, even though I want to see them. But that Godzilla looks so much better. I mean, what was that one just called there? Was it Godzilla King of the Monsters?
Yeah.
That one scene in the trailer that I seen, because I've not seen the film, when it bursts out and it's shooting the blue up to the sky, that scene's better than the whole 1998 Godzilla. That one scene in the trailer that I've seen is better. God damn it.
Yeah, and if I can just have my say on those recent Godzilla movies, say what you will, they, like, deliver the disaster porn you want, from my point of view, which this 98 movie, not only did it not deliver the Godzilla I wanted, it was an insult to humanity. But let me throw out there is a bit of poetic justice, because in two instances the Japanese have directly dissed this 98 movie. Like, in one of the next Japanese Godzilla movies that came out, it all starts with the Japanese government and the military. They're all sitting down talking about, okay, how do we deal with Godzilla? And then someone says, oh, I heard the Americans were attacked by Godzilla last year. Then someone else says, no, the Americans just thought they were attacked by Godzilla. That wasn't Godzilla. And then in 2004, in the great entertaining film that is Godzilla Final Wars, where Godzilla fights all of his old enemies, the American crappy Godzilla shows up and is handily destroyed by the original Japanese Godzilla in a matter of seconds, and it is beautiful.
Completely wiped out.
So yeah, my pick for what I think is my least favorite monster movie, it's something that has stuff going for it, but I think there's just a lot of things that sink this movie, and when you look at his director and his career, it just sums up how his career went after a certain point. My pick is 1992's Bram Stoker's Dracula, directed by Francis Ford Coppola. This is a movie where you can't deny there is vision there. There is way too much vision there. It's almost a movie that's overloaded by its own ideas and nothing congeals. Like, you talk about eclectic, this is eclectic in all the wrong ways, and that nothing goes together. You all know the story of Dracula. Like, this is just so over the top. Like, it wants to be this prestige Oscar bait version of Dracula, but it just ends up feeling like this overblown pantomime. Like, Gary Oldman, great actor, but like, he really sums up why the movie feels imbalanced for me, because he is giving this interesting sort of gothic romantic take on Dracula, but he feels like he is on a completely different plane of existence to everyone else in that movie, which maybe that was what Coppola was going for, like trying to make Dracula feel like, oh, he's not human, so he's not like these people, but it just feels so out of place. I referenced Keanu Reeves on a recent episode playing Jonathan Harker, giving one of the worst examples of an American trying to play a British gentleman ever. The one saving grace of this movie is Anthony Hopkins as Van Helsing. I think that's a brilliant piece of casting. But yeah, this movie, it's just a mismatch where, yeah, there's definitely place for a movie like this where you bring in this prestige cast to make a version of Dracula that's really true to the novel, but yeah, as I say, it really sums up what happened to Francis Ford Coppola after the 70s. Like, if you look at the 70s, Coppola made Godfather, The Conversation, Godfather 2, and Apocalypse Now, which are just four of the best films of the 70s. Then I almost feel like Apocalypse Now and The Long Shoot there just destroyed him, basically, because there are a couple of good films in the 80s, like Rumblefish, I think, is underrated, but Coppola, for me, he just lost it after the 70s for me, and this movie is, if it weren't for Godfather 3, I would say this movie was his nadir. But yeah, have you guys ever seen the 90s Dracula?
Something tells me that I've seen it, but it might have been like really years ago, so I don't really remember it that much. I've seen quite a few other Draculas though. They're always hit and misses. Dracula, like sometimes they get it spot on. You think, oh, that's a good Dracula, and then other, because you've always read like the poems or the little books and stuff about Dracula and stuff, so you've always got a sort of vision in your mind of what he's going to be like and how he's going to act and stuff. So when you see it on the actual screen, like it either goes in your favour or it doesn't. But I can't really remember the 1992 one, but something tells me I did watch it like once or that. But if I can't remember it, then it's not a good sign.
Yeah, it was something I always heard about, never watched it until a couple of months ago. I noticed it was on Netflix and I did watch it. I haven't finished it. I think I'm actually a bit with Anthony Hopkins, if I remember right, like he's talking to the kind of red-haired girl. She's losing her mind and it's like he now knows what the problem is. The reason I haven't went back to it is I don't know what's going on. It feels as if there's so much going on in it that I don't know what timeline I'm in. Is Keanu Reeves mainly a main character in it? Because it's just, he's been left, and is he dying in it? I'm so confused in it. The one that confused me, I get the Gary Oldman thing. I do get the Gary Oldman. It shows him at the start and how he became Dracula, and it was to save his wife. I get that story. I'm now lost with him as the film goes on. It's like, 1 minute he's the kind of like malnourished, wasting away, white hair, and there's these 3 or 4 brides, whatever the story goes, and then the next minute, oh, by the way, he's in England and he's young or youngish, but and then no, he's a werewolf. That I was so confused about what's his powers. Why does he not just go and wander the world as a young man then? Why does he need to stay this crappy old malnourished monster? I don't. Maybe it's my knowledge of Dracula isn't very much, but I just didn't get the film. And you're right, I get so lost. It never stuck into me. The weird bestiality scene in it was just a bit much.
Yeah, it's like I say. It's like I say. It's almost like it almost feels like a first draft of a really interesting artistic experiment. Like there's so many interesting ideas and interesting takes, but so many of them don't belong together in that film. Where you feel like they needed to spend another year to like whittle it down to, okay, what are we trying to do with this version of Dracula? But the film that is just feels like okay, idea, let's film it.
Yeah.
Which, it just doesn't work for me.
No, I mean, in every version of Dracula I've seen, I'm trying to remember, any films he's appeared in. So, for example, Van Helsing, it goes with Transylvania, 3 brides, and it sticks to that, like, kind of storyline. It doesn't, and then you've got the Dracula, is it Untold, where starring... Ralph Evans? No. Luke Evans.
Luke Evans, yeah.
That's it. I actually quite like that film. Again, I'm not a big Dracula man, so it might be hated, but I don't know, I liked it. But at least that stuck with the start and how he became Dracula. And I feel like that Bram Stoker's went with, this is his Dracula, this is how he becomes it. It was like it tried to tell the story of Dracula and everything that happens to Dracula in one film. And it just didn't. It just felt packed. It felt as if someone, as I said, it was someone's came in with a draft. Like, here's all my ideas, and it just needed somebody to go, yeah, that's good. Chisel this away, or chisel that away, and you have a storyline. And it just seemed as if no one wanted to do that. It was like quantity doesn't mean quality. Flinging all these great ideas in doesn't mean the film will be great if nothing ties it in. And as I say, I've tried to watch it. I will finish it, I promise. But I get so lost in it. And as someone who's not really into Dracula and his story, I don't care as much, but I wanted to watch it. I just didn't understand the characters. What was the point in Keanu Reeves' character? The thing
about it is, it's actually got an okay cast.
It is. I mean, Wyoming Ryder's in it, and Gary Oldman, Anthony Hopkins. I've now remembered the Doctor with the madman. I always remember that, Peter, because you done it in college. That scene. That's a big actor as well, is it not?
Richard E. Grant's the Doctor.
Aye,
right?
It. He's the Van Helsing's apprentice.
Yeah,
that was the way it was going. Yeah, I mean, that's another part. That was another Dracula part that I feel like they flung in. It was just anything with Dracula related, they flung it in, but it never made sense. I just got so confused by the whole film.
Yeah, you got to figure it's Coppola, like, being this like prestige director where, I don't know, maybe it's just he's at the point where no one's telling him no. But like that raises the question of, as I say, this is Coppola 13 years beyond him being master of cinema, Francis Ford Coppola. So how long into your slump does it take before a studio will tell you what movie you're going to make? Like, it's incredible that he made this movie to me.
Yeah, I mean, we're talking about the Godzilla. We're talking about Godfather. Godfather, you could argue the same point as I'm trying to say with Dracula, but that's got a lot going on in it. Like, you've got this storyline, blah blah blah. But see what I like, what he done in Godfather. He went, yes, we do have all these storylines going on, but this part will be to this storyline. Look, we've wrapped it up. Now we go on to the next storyline. We've wrapped it up. It seemed to give you chapters. This film seems to be chapters that just never ended. It was just, oh, I've got a chapter here. I've got a chapter there. Remember the first chapter? Yeah, we're not going to touch it. We'll go back. And it's, oh, we're back. And,
yeah, almost like you're taking 3 pages of a chapter at a time and saying, okay, I want this 3 pages of the chapter, then this 3 pages of the next chapter.
I mean, and it just seemed to just fling itself all over the place. At least, as I say, Godfather did have a lot of stories going on in it, but it wrapped him up before moving on to the next story. It didn't leave you going, but what's happened to the Turk? You know, the one that was selling drugs? Oh yeah, he gets shot. Has he explained that? They wrapped it up.
At least you knew what was happening with the Godfather,
Yeah.
as you're saying. Aye.
I mean, I will give Bram Stoker's Dracula another watch. I will try, but because I don't think I've got deep enough into Anthony Hopkins' character. He was like, when I first, the bits I did see him, I really liked it, but I don't know if I can watch a film just for one man to save it. Does he save it? No.
No.
Oh.
I wasn't on some mountain by the end going, this was so worth it to get to the end here. I was horribly disappointed, but yeah, maybe I'll watch it again someday and try to find the method behind the madness.
If it was 1992, he would have just came off with Silence of the Lambs.
Yeah, previous year.
That was around that time.
Yeah.
Madness.
Yeah, well, it's not a good. It has a pretty good reputation, but I feel like that's just people sucking up to Coppola. But yeah, it's, as I say, he made great movies in the 70s, but those times are long past. So Ritchie, I'm looking at the list here, and I notice you have a movie called Trolls as your worst monster movie. Now, clarify for me, is this the animated film starring Justin Timberlake that you're talking about, or is this something else entirely?
No, this was the mid-80s. You know, I don't even know much of the story of this one because I seen it years ago.
I think I know exactly what film this is.
Sorry, I think I do too.
I'm just going to say one thing. Sorry, and you're going to explain this, Richie. I just need to know if I'm right here. Are you going to say this? Is this got the line, oh my God, they're eating her, and then they're going to eat me? That's that film, in it?
I'm sure it is. Aye.
Yeah, Richie, to clarify, Richie, you were talking about a wonderful bad movie, and I've just realised it's called Troll 2. So go right ahead, because I feel like I've got a lot on this one.
Right. Well, here's the thing for me. There was so many bad moments. Like, I've only seen the first one because, like, I'm not going to sit and watch the second or third when the first was so bad. But it's got so many weird moments. It's got so many straight. Like, I was so switched off when I was watching it. Now, like I say, I don't watch a lot of monster movies. So most of the monster movies that I watch, I do like, because they're like movies I've set out and I think, okay, I'm going to. So I'd seen this and I just thought, okay, I'll go for it. Like, because it seemed pretty good, but it was pretty bad. Like, and I can focus quite well when I'm watching films, even if I don't like them. Like, even if I'm not really enjoying it, I can still look focused to the end, and I just think, okay, I don't. But with this one, like, it was just weird. It was a weird film. Like, and like as Robert was saying there, it had a lot of like strange lines, and like it was comical as well. But like, I was just switching off. Like, it's one of the movies that actually leaves you speechless, but not in a good way.
It's a fascinating film. It's one of those films that is famous for being so bad. I mean, I once heard someone say that the Trolls series is the Room of horrors.
Yeah.
And if the Room, I'm sure, is that Madman's film in it.
Yes.
Yeah, and this film is it. It's true. It's the Room of the Horrors. It's a bad film, but yeah, it's famous. It's probably more famous than actual really good horrors. But again, for the really bad lines, like the bad acting of, oh my God, they're eating her. Then they're going to eat me. Oh no.
Oh my God.
I mean, I'm going to be honest, when you put Trolls in, I thought you were talking about the animated kids film, and I was going, all right, interesting. I'll go with you that. I hate it. It's a lame film. But no, I think you picked the best film, as in the worst film. You picked the best worst film. You may have won this round.
Yeah, Robert, I don't even know if you're being ironic here. There is literally a documentary about Troll 2 named Best Worst Film.
I didn't know that.
Like, yeah, Troll 2 is a wonderful aberration. It is is a movie where everything goes wrong. And yeah, as you say, Tommy Wiseau's The Room, that's something I would hold up as one of my favorite viewing experiences. And Troll 2 is right there with The Room. Like, this is, yeah, I think it's much like The Room. It is a case of a foreigner having a completely conflictive relationship with his cast on set. Like, I feel like there are a lot of stories about how the director was just totally negative towards everyone and no one knew what he was trying to make. But yeah, this is Richie, thank you for picking this. This is a wonderful piece of history, Troll 2.
So you've seen the first and second then?
I haven't seen, like, here's the thing, the first has, here's why I think you've seen Troll 2, but they've just called it Trolls or something like that. Like, Troll 2 has absolutely nothing to do with Troll 1.
No,
like,
nothing.
Troll 2 is, it was a movie called Goblin, and they just realized it was crap, so they put the Troll name onto it and made it a sequel after it was finished. So,
but they didn't label it as a sequel, really.
Well, yeah, they called it Troll 2, so I feel like that's about as labeling it as a sequel. But actually, when the movie was made, it had nothing to do with the first Troll. So, yeah, that's
amazing.
It's something. Yes, it's up here somewhere. But yeah.
I mean, I had to go and find out what its budget was, and as I'm finding out, its budget was apparently $65,000. But the actual starting title of this film, here it goes, 8 of the best horror movies. This is apparently in some people's best horror movies. This is called Troll 2, even for the fact that there are no trolls in it, only goblins. Because the film was called Goblin, it's almost as if we've made Troll, let's go make something different. But wait, the film's not done too well. Let's call it Trolls 2, and nobody will know the difference between a troll and a goblin.
Make the money.
Wow. I mean, I honestly think you picked the best one here. I think you've won.
5% Rotten Tomatoes. That's amazing.
3 out of 10 on IMDb, I think. I mean, wow. Would you rather watch that or Godzilla 98?
I'd rather watch Troll 2 any day, Robert. I may watch this again sometime soon.
I mean, I always wonder
because I don't remember it. Like, whereas with Godzilla, I remember it. So I'd want to see why. But I would just try and focus better and see why was it so bad.
Why did you say remember it, Richie? Do you mean you remember it like war vets remember the war crimes? Because both of them have, like, I would argue that they're war crimes in the film industry. War crimes. They're horrible films. They're so bad. Like, I wonder, see the actor that said that line, "Oh, they're eating me. Now they're going to eat." Or they're eating her. Do you think he has nightmares in his sleep?
I wouldn't be surprised.
No, I hope he's not done it.
Probably the whole cast that made that movie's got nightmares.
Oh, I'm telling you, somebody must have blown their brains out after that film.
No, there's actually a story because the main child star of this movie is the guy who I think made the Best Worst Movie documentary. Like, he tells a story about how he'd made Troll 2 and, like, assumed, oh, this is going to be like my star making vehicle. This is like, I'm Elliot in E.T. This is my E.T. for Elliot. Like, I'm Elliot in E.T. in this movie. And then, like, one Christmas morning, he's opening his presents. He opens up the VHS box of Troll 2. And it just sounds like he was traumatized from that moment forth, realizing what had happened, like what this movie was. So yeah, it's a special little film. Okay, and now we will move on to the final segment of this evening with our underrated or wildcard picks for monster movies. So, Richie, I was kind of surprised you actually picked something that I feel is still considered a bona fide classic. I mean, I know I've watched it multiple times and I feel like it's still pretty prominent, but you feel like this one's underrated, right?
Yeah, I feel it's underrated because when everybody's given credit to the King Kong franchise, they always go for the one in the 70s, or they go for the newer version, like the one that came out, I think it was 05. But they don't really go for the one in 1933 as much, which I feel it's a definite classic. And the older generation probably do feel as if it's a classic, but I feel as if it's got a bit lost along the way. And out of all the King Kong movies, that's the one I've watched the most. It's just been on the TV a few times, like I had it in video when I was young and stuff like that. The one in the 70s I've seen a few times as well, whereas the newer ones, surprisingly, I've only seen maybe like twice. But I feel that if you actually strip it back, like what that movie done in its time was amazing. Like, because there was a lot to it. Like, you've got to think, this is 1933. Like, Hollywood was just starting to get on the rise, but there wasn't many big blockbuster movies in that time, and they really brought that story and really brought it to life, and really done it justice for the time that it was made in. And when you look at the 70s one, that is like another great film. I think they're all good, all the main ones. I just feel though that like there's been a bit of discredit with the 1933 one. Like sometimes like you don't really hear many reviews on it, and I do get that it's maybe a bit dated now in terms of because it's been out for so long, but I just feel that it should be remembered as the one that really created these other movies, that really brought them to life.
Yeah, it's weird how I feel like we're on complete. I don't know, we're on complete opposite tracks with this movie, because yeah, I love this movie as well, but I feel like this is the one that's still held up as a masterpiece. Like this is one of those films from the 30s. Like for me, the 30s, there's like only a handful of films that really get beyond the stilted nature of the 30s films. I feel like a lot of 30s films, they're so new into sound films that their mindset isn't there to move past a lot of conventions of silent cinema. Whereas by the time you get to the 40s, you get to a lot of like screwball comedies, etc., where everything comes alive. But King Kong, like, there's some definite characterization there, and yeah, it's just one where you want to like look at the special effects and like even just watch the behind the scenes on how it's done, because it's just really a marvel to watch that in front of you. Like the way there's like compositing in the middle of all this stop motion, and like, yeah, it's just one that could just be there for the technical wizardry, but I feel like this one really holds up for modern viewing. But yeah, as you say, I actually feel like the later films are the underrated ones. Like I feel like Peter Jackson's film is fairly divisive. Like some people love it, and I'm in that camp. I really like Peter Jackson's film. Some people hate it, and I feel like the 70s one is pretty slated by most people, but I only saw that for the first time last year and I quite enjoyed it.
I like the 70s one, like, but like for me the original is just the best one. But I feel as if I know a lot of people like the 30s one if they've seen it, but number one, a lot of people haven't seen that one to begin with. So it's not like, so I'm saying, how come that's a classic film, but a lot of people haven't watched it? Like that's the way I feel, as if it's underrated, that a lot of people aren't paying attention to it, or they just don't discuss it much. Like when people think about King Kong, it's always the one in the 70s, which I liked as well. I know that's got more mixed reviews, or the newer one. I'm trying to think of the cast of the newer one. Like, was Jack Black in it?
Yeah, Jack Black was in the Peter Jackson version, and Naomi Watts was in it as well. Who, yeah, Naomi Watts I love in everything pretty much. So yeah,
Adrian Brody.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. Which I thought the newer one was pretty good as well. Like I think they've all been pretty good, and apart from the original, I thought it was really good.
Yeah, I wasn't big on Skull Island, if I'm honest. Like, just felt like that kind of fell into that. I don't know. It felt like a throwback to a 90s monster movie for me, that Skull Island, where I just felt like it was rushing through everything. And again, as I say, these recent movies, that one had an amazing cast, but didn't do anything with them. Whereas Peter Jackson's film, I appreciated the time that they spent. Like, they gave you about an hour with the characters before they even got to Kong, which I know a lot of people think, oh, that movie's way too bloated. But for me, that's why the movie worked.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, some of the deleted scenes from the Peter Jackson King Kong I've seen. No, there's a deleted scene and they're in the swamp and they're getting attacked by a big fish. That's brilliant. Like, I think the monsters in I've only ever seen the Peter Jackson one and Skull Island. They're my only versions of King Kong. I always like the monsters. I like the world that Peter Jackson created. It has. I actually like Skull Island, but I don't know why I like it. I agree they did rush through things. It was just, oh, Samuel Jackson hates the monster, so is he the villain? And it's just, yeah. I did like the was it they called them skull crawlers in Skull Island? I like their design, but I just, yeah, I don't know. I've never seen the was it the 33 one? I thought about. I haven't seen that.
Yeah.
I haven't seen them, so I'm not too sure what they're like. So
I think you might like the 33 version because like there's a good amount of like satirical humor, I'd say, like with like I don't know, when they come across the natives on the island and Denham has to go in and negotiate with them. That stuff's really funny. Like if this film director just taking the charge and like thinking, I can negotiate with the natives. Like, yeah, and like, yeah, the special effects in the original, like CGI is, yeah, it's one thing. It can be used brilliantly, it can be used terribly, but yeah, stop motion is just something. It's always fun to watch.
Yeah.
Maybe the part of the reason I don't like Skull Island is because I don't know, like aside from the original Star Wars trilogy, if you're going to ask me what my favorite movie ever is, I'd say Apocalypse Now. Which Skull Island is one of those movies. There's a few of them where they're just doing a lot of homages or straight up rip-offs of Apocalypse Now. Like that movie. How have you see that movie Ad Astra recently with Brad Pitt?
No. I know I've heard of it. I've heard it's a bit long and unneeded kind of thing.
Yeah, it was like I saw it in the cinema and like about 45 minutes in, I just like realized every single plot beat of this movie is ripped off from Apocalypse Now. Like, so I feel like if a movie rips off Apocalypse Now, it's an alarm bell for me where I just turn on the movie immediately because yeah, that movie's perfect and you can't do it again. So, Robert, what is your wild card pick this evening?
Well, I'm going different and we're going for monsters. This is a big monster, cheeky, but you don't see it very much. I'm going for the 2017 film The Ritual. I don't know if you've heard of it. It's actually when I felt with Peter just before we recorded, I would pick this as actually my best film. I think this is a better film than Pacific Rim, but it's not a film a lot of people have heard of. The cast wasn't really big, so much so that I now can't remember them. But it's basically about 4 or 5, I think they were like college friends. They've now grown up. They reunite and they're saying, we need to go on a big trip together. So it's like one of them says, oh, go to the Grand Canyon. We'll go to the Alps. One of them suggests that they go to a kind of forest in Scandinavia. It was like this old forest that years in the Nordic times they believed it was a god forest that the god Loki used to torment people in it during the Nordic times. So that's why this guy wants to go. He's fascinated by the lore of this forest. So they talk about that, and one of them, the main character and the fella that suggested the idea of going to a shop, this is the kind of start of the film. There is a robbery goes on in the shop. Our main character is actually hiding behind a counter, just further up. You know, he's not been spotted. His friend, who suggested the idea, has been seen and has been killed by the robbers. And his friend and the main character can only watch and not get involved and hides. So he now suffers from, I think it's called survivor's guilt, and he's also fear because he thinks he's a coward. I think that's what most survivors who suffer from survivor guilt seem to believe, that why have they survived. So it really deals with the mental illness kind of side. So it's a couple of years later that the friends reunite, and they say in this fella's honour that got murdered, let's do this hike and camp in this forest. So they go into the forest, and one of their friends has an injury and he twists his ankle or whatever. So they say, right, we'll make up camp and we'll settle in the middle of the forest for the night. But they started to notice a lot of weird things in the forest. The film does this very good job of creating a presence that you're being watched, but you don't know where it's coming from. Like, you feel, you can hear the cracks, you hear screaming, but you hear noises, and it's just, apart from the screaming, that's just a normal forest. But they think it's just people playing around. So they're sleeping, and one of the main character wakes up. He hears ruffling outside his tent, so he unzips his tent and he looks out, and it's the shop that him and his friend were in, and it all lights up, so it now looks as if he's in the shop, and it shows you the whole crime again, the murder. He hears screaming and he wakes up, so he's like, oh, nightmare. He unzips his tent to get fresh air. He hears more ruffling, and he sees his friend's tent being picked up and dragged away, and he hears a big scream. He actually wakes up again. It was actually like a nightmare within a nightmare. He wakes up, opens his sleeping tent, he opens his tent, and he looks to see that his friend's tent's wide opened and his friend's been dragged away. They get ready and they go and look for him, and they find him kind of impaled onto a tree with his chest ripped open and his entrails hanging out. So he's dead, obviously. He's been like ritually sacrificed in this kind of Nordic way. So they go, right, time to get out. There's no signal because it's away up in the back strip, so they can't phone anybody, so they have to try and escape. The film's then about them being, our main character being psychologically almost played with. And this again touches to this lore of this Norwegian forest, or I think it's Norwegian, it's not Norwegian or Swedish, it's Scandinavian kind of forest, that this is where the god Loki used to torment people. So he's having all these visions of cowardness and how he can save people, and how he's gonna let his friends die to save himself, this survivor's guilt that he's struggling with. Again, nothing that he's actually done wrong. I mean, I don't know, no one would react when a robbery's going on in a shop. He didn't do anything wrong. He was in shock, like what would happen to most people, but this is survivor's guilt. It really plays heavily on this kind of mental illness or mental health problems that people suffer. They come across, I think, before they hit the village, another one of their friends goes missing. He's been snatched away. Again, they find him impaled and ripped apart. They end up going to find this village, and this village takes them in, and we need to get help, blah, blah, blah. There's a woman in the village that explains to our main character what's happening, and she says it's is the monster called Mordor? Again, you never see the monster. You still haven't seen it. She starts to tell you that its name's Mordor, or it's like it was like the dog of Loki or something. It's like Loki's demonic animal pet, and it basically, this god can grant everlasting life to this wee village in the middle of this forest if they sacrifice their bodies to it. So they pick the main character's only surviving friend to be sacrificed to this god thing, while our main character is still in his hut investigating. He goes up to the attic and he finds what is these old, withered away people that the skin's away from them, they're all withered. They've been thousands and thousands of years old. The plants have grew through them. They are actually technically alive. They're not dead. So yes, they have fulfilled their plan. They've sacrificed people and they have everlasting life, but they're trapped and they can't move. So it's painting this kind of picture that everlasting life isn't great. You never said that you wouldn't waste away. So he sets fire. He wrecks the village. The door opens as he's running away, and it shows you the woman that explained it all to him. She gets picked away and dragged away, and you just see blood. She's been ripped apart. It then shows you like this set of eyes at a window, and he runs out, and it makes it this creature isn't so big. Maybe it's maybe human size, until he runs with a gun. His friend's been killed now. She's been sacrificed. He runs and he sees the fire, and he sees screaming. He hears these noises he's been hearing. You turn round, and you see antlers, and it steps forward. The creatures went from looking just like a humanoid with antlers to being this massive, like 8-legged creature with a huge face. You never actually clearly see the face on it. And this is the first time, about maybe 15 minutes from the end. Spoilers. Should have maybe put that at the start, spoilers. But It's brilliant, and it's just about the guy then trying to escape from this monster. But it's great. It really goes with the kind of Nordic mythology, and it's what I like in a horror mystery film. It doesn't show you the monster. It doesn't jump scare you with it. You know, like the original. Oh no, I forgot what they're called. The film that's always in Japan, the Western. It's been Western made, and Japan remade it. You know, the one with the black-haired woman.
Oh, The Ring.
The Ring. That's it. I think it's The Ring. And it always shows you. Is it The Ring? It usually shows you what you're dealing with. Yeah, but it shows you what you're dealing with at the start. You kind of know what's killing you. This doesn't tell you. You know what it is. It's like Jaws. I said to Peter, it's like Jaws at the start. You know it's a monster. You know it's a shark. But why? The fact that you can't see it creates that suspense, that tension, and that horror. I honestly could not highly recommend this film. I think of all the underdogs I've ever picked, this is truly the best one that I've ever picked. Not
is it on Netflix?
No, I'm not sure if it'll be on Netflix now. I thought
I've seen it come up, and I've not seen it myself yet, but I thought the actual title came up in that, like The Ritual. I'm sure it was on one of the apps, especially if it's only been a few years old.
Yeah, I'm trying to find. I was going to quickly Google and see who's on it. I mean, there's the cast isn't really massively big. I mean, the only person I know of is Raf Spall. He's the main character. I've probably not said his name properly. I think he was in Hot. I think he's actually in Shaun of the Dead. I think
he's in all three of them. Yeah.
He's the one that says you've got red on you. You know that one? That's the one that says that you've got red on you. He played one of the one of the undercover CID in Hot Fuzz.
Yeah.
It's him.
I like Hot Fuzz.
Yeah, it's a very. I can't honestly recommend the film enough. It's honestly. I think actually it might be on Netflix. I've got a Netflix logo next to it. If it is on Netflix, I'd recommend watching it. It is great.
I'll check out some. It sounds that mysterious way that when you're watching it, you're trying to work out what's going to happen in your mind.
What's killing them?
Think what's the next part?
But see, as he gets closer to the village, the tormenting stops, and that's what apparently the mythology was, that Loki used to torment people until they appeared in his village, and he used them to worship him to make him stronger. It's such a weird film. I mean, it's got a 75% Rotten Tomatoes. I know Rotten Tomatoes is usually quite overcritical of things. Very good.
Yeah, it definitely sounds like a sort of return to more of a mood piece for horror movies. Like a lot of horror movies nowadays rely too much on jump scares or just dark lighting or low color palettes, or like there's a I don't know, a factory style that's come with modern horror movies, but it sounds like this might break the mold a little bit. Yeah,
I don't know if the budget wasn't big enough, if maybe that's the excuse they didn't show the monster, but what an excuse if it didn't help the film. I think not seeing it really helped. You're only seeing what it's left behind, you know, like the dead animals and the dead bodies, and the kind of way it's not just torn them apart, it's left them in like a kind of ritualistic style. It's weird. It's fascinating. I think it's great. I'm just trying to. I've got Netflix on my phone. And I'm just quickly trying to see if it is actually on Netflix. I use. I'm not seeing it. But if you can find it somewhere,
I'm sure I did see it at some point, but maybe it was just another film. It's called The Ritual or something along the lines of it.
Yeah, if you can find it, I'd watch it. It's great.
I have to check it out at some point.
Cool. So my pick for Wildcard, it's actually not an underrated film, but it's a film you might not think of in the monster genre often. It's, some would say, you could say a parody of one of the classic monster movies. It is Young Frankenstein, which this is like top 5 comedies for me. If you don't know the plot, it's a Mel Brooks film starring Gene Wilder as Frederick Frankenstein, who is set up as the grandson of the original Dr. Frankenstein from, of course, all the classic Frankenstein films. And basically, this character has completely shunned his family's past. He refuses to be called Frankenstein. He wants to be known as Frankenstein. And he's this medical scientist who who completely shuns the idea that reanimating corpses is in any way possible. But then he's visited by, I think, a lawyer who tells him that his great-grandfather, the father of the legend Dr. Frankenstein, has just died and left the Castle Frankenstein to Fred. And so Fred goes to Transylvania and meets Igor, who, of course, demands to be called Igor to take the piss out of him when he finds out, oh, if you're calling yourself Frankenstein, I'm going to call myself Igor. And like they go to the castle, and Freddy Frankenstein, he finds the lab, and reading the notes, he gradually gets drawn into this idea of maybe this reanimating corpses is possible. And basically from there, they go through all the classic Frankenstein set pieces, but with a comedic edge. And I feel like what makes this movie work is like they shoot it in black and white, and they actually use a lot of the sets and props from the original 30s Frankenstein film. So you get that creepy tone, but it's also just this incredibly funny film. Like, down to like the idea of like when the housekeeper, whenever her name is said, horses will suddenly lose control and go like, so like they set up this kind of like comedically creepy tone. And yeah, as I say, this is just one of my favorite comedies. And like when I saw it as a kid, like I appreciated the comedy of it and appreciated the kind of spookiness of it. But like as I get older, I just realize how smart it is and how it's like paying tribute to Frankenstein, but also like just is incredibly clever about the way it's going about it. Like there's so many, like I haven't seen the original Frankenstein movies since, like there's so many like little elements they pick up on, and it's just, it's a living tribute, but it's its own thing at the same time. Yeah, Gene Wilder is just fantastic in it, and I feel like you need someone like him to like who can like sort of be playing it straight, but you know he's like immediately gonna lose it at some point. So that like kind of like makes him the perfect casting for this guy who like is the crazy Dr. Frankenstein under the surface, but wants to pass himself off as a respectable member of society. And oh, it's just a brilliant film. So have you guys seen this?
I've not seen it, no. I have heard about it though. Like I've seen a couple of the Frankenstein movies, like just the, well, I think there was one in the 50s or that I've seen, and then a couple of the more recent ones. So like to actually sort of have that parody element to like that a mythical creature almost, like it's a hard thing to pull off. Like because you've seen it with like, as we were talking about, like with Draculas or like just different parodies of like, creatures like that. Like a lot of the time it ends up just becoming like a flop, the film, because like people don't take it like that way seriously, and they just think, no, this isn't. And even if you watch some of the like Frankensteins of the past, like some of the horrors look really outdated as in they're not that scary. Like whereas back in those days, people were horrified when they seen some of those like clips of the film. But like I'll have to check out. When did it come out?
Came out in '74. Like that's the amazing thing. Mel Brooks made Blazing Saddles in early '74, and then made Young Frankenstein in late '74. So that's just incredible to me to think back on that. Like, and yeah, I like Blazing Saddles. I like the producers, but for me, this, it's definitely considered a classic, but maybe less well known than the other two. But this for me is by far Mel Brooks' best film.
Yeah, I mean, I've seen clips of it. It's one of those ones that I know he was in it. I know what it's about, kind of, but I haven't really seen it. I've just seen the madness of him running about trying to do experiments, and it always looked quite funny because he's got the makeup on like a way back, isn't he? Just looks a bit mad. Yeah, I need to watch that because I keep seeing it everywhere and I just never click it. I just never watch it, even though I know I probably will like it because it's got the right cast in it.
Yeah, it's got a good cast.
Yeah, and as you mentioned, there is like the scene that kind of breaks Gene Wilder's sanity, if you will. It's when he's reading the notes, and up until then, he's like, you've had this, as I say, feeling that like he could break at any moment, and like, but you get the scene where he's reading the notes, and then like suddenly his head comes up, and that's when you see his eyes have just gone completely mad, and he just screams to the camera, "It could work!" And it's like, just with like the way like just Wilder's performance, the cinematography, and the score, all just, it's something that could go completely over the top, but it just works in the moment. Yeah, love this film.
I guess it is underrated though, because you don't really hear about it that much.
No, yeah. Blazing Saddles, Blazing Saddles, you still hear about, and yeah, don't feel like maybe Mel Brooks fans and comedy, like classic comedy fans in general, know this one, but maybe the general public don't really see it as much. Yep, check it out because holds up. So yeah, that brings us to the end of the show this evening. Robert, Richie, thank you for joining me. Richie, hope you enjoyed your first experience of movie chats and weren't put off by
I enjoyed it. Like you learn new things from different movies, or just different little plots, or different opinions about films that you've maybe seen before, but like you pick up little bits of them. Interesting stuff.
Yep.
So yeah, myself and Danica, and possibly Robert, if he's done his homework, will be back next week to finally review all of WandaVision. And until then, we hope you all have enjoyed the show, and we look forward to seeing you again next week. Have a good week.
Shalom.
See you guys soon. Was it on any particular app, or just...
No, I picked up the Blu-ray, so
I just Blu-ray.
Yeah.
I picked up the Blu-ray. Sits there with massive library, and I get that, which is a bit. Actually, that's actually quite a big library as well. Actually, I'll give you that. You can't see it.
Let's compare sizes someday, Robert.
That's what she said.
Exactly. Del Toro's someone like who I like him, but I'm not as big a fan as most people are. Like, I love Hellboy. Hellboy is one of my favorite films, by which, of course, we mean the 2004 Guillermo del Toro Hellboy and not the horrible 2019 remake.
Yep.
Yeah.
I've not seen that one, the remake.
It was painful to sit through, even though I know some people are. It's the only film I can ever think of just sitting in a cinema, looking at the screen, just begging the characters to stop talking because every word they were saying was making the movie worse. Cool. Well, I think we're going to spend more than 5 minutes talking about Godzilla '98. So
someone agrees. This is why Richie, I'm usually muted.
So I feel like if a movie rips off Apocalypse Now, it's an alarm bell for me where I just turn on the movie immediately because, yeah, that movie's perfect and you can't do it again. Probably why I don't really care for Platoon, because even though Oliver Stone is, he has the Vietnam experience, I feel like everything he's doing in that movie, Coppola did first. So
I like Platoon. Platoon was fascinating. The young innocent man stuck between the devil and the good, the God. You missed that. Don't you get involved in the him.
Platoon is a well-made movie with some brilliant sequences, but yeah, Coppola did everything that movie does first. Like, and
Coppola's an arsehole.